exactly as it was built to. Keep artists engaged, but not empowered. You create the value, and corporations harvest the profit. Here's the truth nobody tells you. Spotify and major DSPs collect everything about your audience. They sell the data to advertisers, train their algorithms, close brand deals, and share it with labels and sponsors. Just not you. Think about that. You don't get paid, you don't get access, you don't get receipts. Access to our fans shouldn't be a privilege. It's our right. This is why we're building ProsperXO, created for artists by artists. And we're not just building technology, we're building a movement. A system rooted in transparency, protection, and sustainability for artists everywhere. Build with us at prosperxo.com.
Hello.
Our data is mine.
So dramatic. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being here tonight. My name is Lauren Bruno, and I am one of the founders of ProsperXO. For those of you who are new to ProsperXO, we are an artist-first ethical technology company and education and cultural initiative focused on building a more sustainable future for artists and creative communities. When we say artists first, we mean we believe technology and society should work for artists, not simply profit from them. Artists deserve ownership, creative autonomy, fair opportunities, direct and meaningful relationships with their communities, and more control over the value they create. And when we say ethical technology, we mean building technology that strengthens human connection, supports real communities, operates with transparency and trust, and returns value to the people creating our culture. At ProsperXO, we often say, when artists prosper, culture thrives. Because every song we love, every show we attend, every album we stream, and every creative experience begins with the artist. But artists don't build lasting careers alone. Behind every sustainable career is an ecosystem of people who choose to invest in artists and believe in their potential. That's why we host these town halls. We believe conversations matter, community matters, and gathering together in person matters. We're living through a moment where so much of our lives are becoming digital, automated, and driven by algorithms. As technology and AI continue to reshape how we live, work, and create, it's more important now than ever that we preserve the things that make us human: creativity, real experiences, authentic relationships, local communities, and art. These town halls are our small way of creating space for those things, a place where artists, industry leaders, entrepreneurs, educators, community members can come together, learn from one another, build relationships, exchange ideas, and strengthen our creative ecosystem. Because if we want culture to thrive tomorrow, we have to invest in the people building it today. Tonight's conversation is called The Long Game. The music industry often celebrates breakthroughs, viral moments, and overnight success. But sustainable careers aren't built overnight. They're built over years through perseverance, relationships, mentorship, and community. They're built by artists who keep showing up, managers who advocate for them, merchandise companies that create sustainable revenue opportunities, record labels that invest in development, nonprofits that strengthen communities, businesses that support local artists, and people who are willing to build alongside artists instead of simply benefiting from their work. Those are the people building the future of music. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge all the artists in the room. Thank you for continuing to create, even when it's difficult. Thank you for taking the risk of sharing your work with the world. We know how much courage it takes to pursue a creative life, and our communities are stronger because of people like you. I'm especially excited about tonight's guests because they represent exactly what we're here to talk about. Both Justin and Jazz began their careers as artists. They understand firsthand the challenges of pursuing a creative career, and they've each gone on to build organizations that create opportunities not only for artists, but for their communities. Justin Weems is the co-founder of FSG and FSG Records. FSG is a custom printing company that has become a trusted creative partner partner for artists, brands, and businesses, helping bring ideas to life through merchandise, apparel, and branded products. He also co-founded FSG Records, where they're dedicated to helping artists develop their careers while building a business rooted in community, creativity, and long-term growth. Jazz Mills began her career as a performing artist before becoming an artist manager and the CEO of Free Lunch, an Austin-based collective of 5 creatives dedicated to serving the community through daily meal distribution and grassroots support. Through partnerships with local organizations, Free Lunch provides 3 meals a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year to Austin's Esperanza's community. Through both her work as an artist and a community leader, Jazz continues to build opportunities, support systems, and stronger communities. To me, they both represent something we care deeply about at Prospera. So, using your own journey and experiences to create opportunities for others and support the artistic journey. That's how stronger artists are built. That's how stronger communities are built. And that's how culture thrives. So with that, I'm honored to introduce our first guest, Justin Weems, co-founder of FSG and FSG Records. Please join me in giving Justin a warm Prosperexo welcome. You want to sit here? Okay. Yay! I'm so excited for this moment. FSG has made such a positive impact on the Austin community, and so honored that you're here for this interview. Yeah. So basically, before we start, before we get into like FSG and all of that, I just want to hear more about you as an artist and kind of what drew you to creativity. And I want you to tell us what your hometown is. We recently did an unfiltered interview, a one-on-one interview, and all of his friends were like commenting, like, say your hometown, because he kept saying, my hometown, and everyone's like, what's your hometown? So yeah, tell us more about your roots and like how you started in this creative journey.
So I'm from Nacogdoches, Texas, in East Texas. It's a really small town. There's absolutely nothing to do there. So like me and all my friends had to find some creative outlets. I think it first started out maybe skateboarding, stuff like that. But my mom bought me, my brother, my neighborhood friends, like an entire band's worth of equipment to start playing music. So I picked up a guitar, my brother played the drums, and my best friend Steven played bass. So we started a garage band. My parents were super supportive and always like were upgrading instruments and things like that. But yeah, I think I started playing when I was in like 5th or 6th grade. And I remember our first show was my brother's like elementary school assembly when he was like in 4th grade or something like that. But yeah, we had tons of bands growing up, always rotating in and out members, but like my parents' house was like the hub for our band practices and having friends over to watch us play and things like that. I kept playing music. I started working at this like 3-tier venue. It was like a sports club on one side, a venue on the other, and there was like an abandoned bar from, I don't know, maybe the 80s or 90s.
Where you had raves.
It had been abandoned for a while. And, me and the co-founder, Anthony from FSG, we were both working in there, and the owner, we convinced him to just like let us take it over. He supplied the bar staff, and we had to book bands, and another friend of ours, Justin Cole, helped us build out the entire stage, paint the entire place, and get it back to a functioning venue. And my band was playing there. We were booking other local bands. And then we started booking national acts as well for this like tiny space, but it was like a stop between Houston and Austin and Dallas. So it was a good little place for people to check in, which was cool.
Wait, so you had the band that you started really young. Your mom was like getting you all these nice instruments. And then how old were you when you started working at this venue?
I was probably, I had to like just turn 21, something like that. I worked at HEB from the time I was like 16 until it closed down in Nacogdoches.
Okay. So
and I was like working the door, and then once HEB closed, I just went full time there and started managing the place.
So you're playing music and you get into events. What kind of led to that? Like, I know you said there was an empty space, but what kind of incentivized you guys to be like, oh, like we should also start booking shows too?
I don't know. Just being involved with music was cool. My band, it was hard to get them to play outside of Nacogdoches, so it was cool just like trying to get other stuff going on in town. Everybody there was creating, like that time period in Nacogdoches was really cool because pretty much everybody that was there like 4 years later moved to Austin or somewhere adjacent. Like we were playing shows with like the forming members of White Denim. Quiet Company was coming through there and playing shows. Like all there was so many people that moved to Austin and kept doing the same thing or kept being creative. It was like this one little 4-year window that everybody, I don't know, it's just this little hub that came over here.
Yeah. So I guess how did your own experience of being an artist kind of shape how you thought about supporting artists?
It's just fun being involved, I think. Trying to build something, getting momentum behind something. I don't know. I think something in me is always trying to like bring somebody else up. I'm kind of like a jack of all trades and ace of none. So like I have my hand in so many things. So I'm never like skill level for what needs to happen has not been there. So I like helping other people facilitate what they can do and bring it to the forefront.
Okay, so we're booking events, we're playing shows, we're in
Nacogdoches.
Nacogdoches. So what happens next? Because like how did you go from like I'm an artist, I'm booking shows, but now like I want to build a business?
So we were booking shows under Fine Southern Gentlemen, which was our original name, and to fund this venue, we had to come up with some extra money. So Anthony started designing shirts, and we were having them printed at a local print shop. And all the bands started buying up the merchandise at the shows, and we're like, all right, maybe this is more lucrative than actually booking the shows.
For sure.
Eventually, Anthony got a job at that print shop as well. He learned how to do it, and they're like, all right, should we just like do this? And we took a tour around Texas. We knew we wanted to stay in Texas, but we took a tour around Texas, I think that summer, and went everywhere and decided we were going to land in Austin as well. And we came here, found a couple shops that were willing to carry our stuff, which kept us going. One of which was Parts and Labor, which is now Paperwork. We've been with them since 2007, I'm pretty sure. Huge help, and I think that's what kept us going. And then we bought a press, put it in my garage, and as soon as we started printing our own stuff, our friends, bands or food trailers or whatever like immediately knew and wanted to start printing their merch as well. So we kept kind of just building from there. We had a couple good little pops. The World Cup, it was like 2008 when Clint Dempsey from Nacogdoches was playing in that World Cup. We got to print essentially bootleg shirts with his blessing, and made a lot of contacts that way. We followed a couple comedians online that were starting podcasts around that time and got our foot in the door with like online fulfillment from there, like out of my garage. But yeah, we just kept like making relationships and try to keep building from there.
And you were learning like how to do all of it, right?
Yeah,
you were learning screen printing and graphic design.
I had no clue what any of this shit was. I didn't know what a conveyor drive, like Anthony taught me everything. I was basically handling like the back end business side. Anthony got me up to speed on the printing, and I was there in my garage doing it by myself plenty of times. And then as time progressed, I was doing printing, learning design. We had opened up with another print shop, this retail shop on E6 called Eastside Supply Co., which was very similar to the last FSG shop. So I would sit there, see what people bought, and like learn Illustrator and Photoshop every day. Teach myself design, and I was still working day jobs for the longest time, up until I just couldn't anymore. But yeah, I was just learning and slowly building.
And you were DJing, yeah?
I started DJing maybe like 2018, 2019,
Okay.
something like that, which was supposed to be a joke and then turned out to be something a little bit different. But yeah, it's been fun.
So FSG started as a custom printing company,
Yeah, more
primarily.
we were at
Before-
first it was straight retail brand, and then we realized if we wanted to make any money, we needed to be doing custom printing for other people.
Okay. But then at what point did it kind of grow more into a creative brand and then branch out into like, oh, okay, like we should start thinking about events and a record label? Because funny enough, you started in events and somehow you made your way back. What kind of led you
I can't
to
remember
expanding?
what year it was, but I remember it was like right around the time that like Hotel Vegas and White Horse opened up. Started hanging around there and met some cool people there with some really good design aesthetic. We kind of pigeonholed ourselves into this like sort of southerny, modern whatever that as time went on, I was not like that stoked on anymore. And so we started picking up different artists that were helping us put stuff on our website. And it kind of grew from there. Like it was just a very eclectic mix of everything. It was very punk rock, still had some southern stuff, and sign paintery, whatever. Very music based as well. But as we started picking up more artists, it started to grow and grow. I just like a bigger footprint, no through line whatsoever, except for like sort of pop culture, music based, I guess. But the more artists we started working with, the more attention it got. And then I think like during the pandemic is like when it really started to ramp up. We shifted to like a fundraising model, which really got us into like the fulfillment side of things and prepared us for 2021, which is when we moved into a bigger shop and things really like kind of started to take off from there.
Yeah, and you had said like much of the label started out with like friends and people that you really believed in or knew, and like it kind of organically, it sounds like, grew from there in a way.
Yeah, it did. Another couple of friends and I, we had started this speakeasy for a few months in this like old abandoned church, and we had a good time doing it, but we knew it was like a short lifespan. So we had that going for like 3 or 4 months, and then we took whatever money was left over from that, and we opened up the record shop, Feel So Good Records, and we were like, all right, well, we're selling vinyl. Why don't we put out some vinyl? And we'd already had contacts. Most everybody in the shop played music. Same people were in the same bands. We're like, all right, let's start like putting some people's records out. People that didn't have money to pay for vinyl or whatever. And just like friends of friends, we just did like the most fair homey deal that we could possibly do. It's like, we're gonna put some money into it, we'll sell them, recoup, and as long as we break even, it's okay. But yeah, we were just trying to help our friends out basically, and anybody else that we thought was cool, and it kind of kept building from there. And we made a little bit of money back, and had some stinkers that didn't do so well, but like, I don't know, it was fun. Just it still is fun. Just I don't know, something that I actually care about. I believe in my friends. I think they make great music, and I think that more people should hear it. And I don't know, it's not often that a lot of, how many national bands do you hear coming out of Austin here lately? It's kind of few and far between. So it's, if I can help out in any way, like getting any promotion behind anybody, I think it's cool.
Tell me about the name change, actually. I did have that question. I want to know that answer. How did you go from Fine Southern Gentleman to Feel So Good?
Yeah, so when Tony and I started it, it was just us two, and we didn't really have vision for it being anything else. And we kept hearing all the time, like, people would think it's a strip club, people calling, asking what time the buffet opens and things like that. And I remember walking in one day, I was working in the back with everybody, and I looked around, and like half the staff is female, like most of the managerial positions were like all female. And I was like, I don't know, it seems a little bit weird. We've outgrown the name, and I want everybody to be happy about like where they're working, like Fine Southern Gentleman's a long thing to spell anyway, but I don't know, I wanted everybody to be happy and like proud of where they're working. And so we'd already tested it out sort of with Feel So Good Records. I was like, all right, let's just make the transition and change the name over. And it's still fitting, Feel So Good for clothing. And I don't know, kept the acronym. Everything kind of worked out.
Great. I'm glad I know that now. One thing I really admire about FSG is that it feels like more than a business. It feels like a community. How intentional has community building been throughout your entire journey?
It's been huge. Every spot that we've been in, we've had like something carved out for people to come together. Even our old warehouse with no AC, we had an entire bay with a stage. We'd have shows every weekend. Our next spot, we'd have shows in a small retail spot or off the back dock. It's been super important to us throughout. I think right now, like our latest move, we're without a retail spot now. So I feel like kind of naked without like having people like in the shop anymore. So we're working on like trying to get something back to where we can like bring people together again. I think it'd be cool to be a third space, and just like an alternative venue that's not like a bar, something different that people can just come chill. Most of the stuff we were doing was like not ticketed, free drinks, free water, whatever. I don't know. It was a good time. We got to see some really cool shows there.
So, why do you think it's important to invest in local culture and creative communities? Your perspective.
You're giving what you get back. I see like quite a few people in this room right now that I've worked with before. I see some shirts in the crowd right now. Like,
oh yeah, I know a lot of FSG.
These are the people that you're working with or seeing are part of your community all the time. These people you're running to at the bar or the gym, whatever. It's beyond business. Like, I don't even think about it that way. It's like being able to work with somebody, to me, the money doesn't register. It's just like kind of building that relationship. And we could be friends as well. I don't care. We don't have to work together. I think just meeting new people and being able to work together in some capacity, whether that's printing shirts or doing some design work or whatever. Maybe we're putting something out in email for you. Like, just helping everybody out as much as you possibly can. Because it's hard keeping a business in this town. Everything lasts, and something's popular for like 2 months, and then TikTok algorithm changes and it's not popular anymore. So trying to like help anybody sustain is cool.
So you've worked with a lot of artists over the years. And I just want to shift into kind of like back into artists. Mm-hmm. What are some of the biggest mistakes you've seen independent artists making when they're trying to build a career?
You've got to put as much work as possible into it. The things that you don't want to do, as much as I maybe hate doing social media and things like that, like you've got to do the things that you don't want to do, and if you can't do it, you've got to find someone who's going to do it for you. I don't know, some artists I work with, like even their moms are managing them and things like that, their wives or whoever, like anybody that can take something off your plate that you don't want to do, that's what you have to do. You have to be reaching out to other people. You can't be shy. I say that I'm shy, but I don't know.
You're doing great.
You've got to put yourself out there, and you've got to make it like happen for yourself.
So you now have joined forces with a few different businesses. Can you talk more about that? Because I went to the space a few weeks ago, and it is amazing. Can you tell us more about what's been happening?
I can say a little bit about it, yeah. We've partnered with 2 other local print shops in town, Bumper Active and Industry Print Shop. We're all sharing a giant space now. We're all still sort of running as separate businesses, but our production team is like a centralized team now. Our fulfillment team is a centralized team. So we've got 3 different customer service teams funneling everything into like one big production.
Yeah, so you guys can do everything now, basically.
There's so much more stuff, like Industry, best poster printer in town, Bumper Active, best stickers in town. They do all kinds of other promo stuff that we would never have even dreamed of doing. So now being able to offer all that stuff like under one team is cool.
Yeah, you had a whole hat room. You had a whole tag making room. Oh my God, it was amazing.
Yeah, capabilities are endless now.
Yeah,
so it's
it was
cool.
so cool. So I guess one thing Prosper XO talks a lot about to artists is about like building brands. How important is it today for artists to think beyond the next song or album and then start building an identity and a community around their work or a brand, coming from like merchandise and thinking about that?
I think it's super important. There are like some cases, another friend's band, like they've had to not do so much of that and they can rely on just the music. But I don't know, the world we're in right now, I think that it's super important to like, I don't know, you gotta have your press kit together. You've got to be on social media. You've got to like do all the things that 10 years ago we probably would not have thought about at all. But there's, I don't know, in this like ever evolving world, you're having to stay up on whatever is happening and stay ahead of the curve. And I don't know, even being experimental with what you're doing, trying to break outside the mold and do something different than what other people are doing. But yeah, you have to stay on it, or else you're gonna get lost in the shuffle. Your music, no matter how good your music is, which is unfortunate, but you've got to be doing something to put yourself in front of people. You've got to be playing you've got to be playing as many shows, not only in Austin, outside of Austin, to get your name out there and try not to get stuck too far, like just playing the same places in town all the time.
Yeah, but it's kind of exciting because it ignites this push to connect more with community. And I feel like even with merchandise, I personally think that merchandise allows you to tell more of your story or build more of like a connection to your fans. Do you think that's the case with is it an opportunity to connect more
It is
in the right places?
Yeah, we've started doing something now to where like we're taking a piece of like an artist's work. John Wesley Coleman's a good example. We did a deal with him he's not only a great like songwriter and musician, but he's also a great painter. We took a bunch of his artwork and used it for t-shirts, and we're trying to put people onto Wes's music without even knowing, like showcasing his artwork. Same thing we're doing for other bands, taking samples of lyrics or something, putting that on a t-shirt, putting it out there in the world, and having it in the product description. Oh, this is like a lyric from J.D. Clark or something like that, where they probably would not have known the artist otherwise, and hopefully they're doing some digging and listening to music and things like that after they're purchasing the item.
That's amazing. Yeah. So it's powerful.
You were trying to create another revenue stream for these artists as well. If they can't rely mainly on their music, let's do something with the merch that we can send them a check every month.
That's amazing. I didn't know that. That's so incredible. So what advice, I have two more questions and then we'll open it up to audience questions. What advice would you give to an emerging artist who wants to build something sustainable, just not go viral? You kind of talked on it, even with what you're talking about now.
I guess just keep going. Like, I don't know. I feel like if you carve out your niche and you just keep on doing it, something's going to come from it. You're going to eventually get people to come on board as long as your music, your art is good. Somebody's going to like it, but you just have to keep being consistent to kind of break through.
So I kind of have two-part closing question, because I loved when we were talking about, when I asked you in the Unfiltered interview, like why you love music and what you love about it. And you even brought out, you were talking about street teams and just like coming together as a community. So I wanted to ask again in front of the audience, like, why do you love music? But also, I guess looking back on your journey from artist to entrepreneur, to becoming someone who helps develop artists and supports them in the ways that you do, I guess what has been the most rewarding part of building something that creates opportunities for artists? And why do you love music? And that's my last question for you.
I think music brings everybody together. I mean, look how many people will go to a show. I know there's so many other aspects of life that are like so divided, but like going to a massive show with all like-minded people that are there, like sing the same thing. or like discovering something new for the first time with a bunch of people is really cool. I don't know. Yeah, it's all. I know we talk about community a lot, but it is cool seeing a bunch of people come together. That's how all my friends and I related when we were kids. Like, I may have talked about in the interview, but like we would all bring our big ass CD books around. So it didn't matter if
Who
we were
knows
in
what he's talking about?
the
CD
movie
books?
theater.
Do we know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we would have them with us at all times.
The
'cause
movie
everybody was-
theater?
Yeah, it didn't matter. We were having a sleepover or something afterwards. Like everybody had their music on them. Everybody wanted to show somebody like what they were listening to, and like those same friends that I went to elementary school with, I'm still in group text with them now. We're doing the same shit now, sending new songs that we're hearing about all the time. So nothing's really changed. Built a ton of friendships that way and sustained a bunch of friendships that way.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for letting me ask you questions, and I'm so honored you shared your story with us. I do want to open it up to the audience, to anybody that has questions for Justin.
Hey, Justin.
How's it going?
It's going good, man. Happy Wednesday. My name's Donovan. I go by Don Perrion. I have a record label, too. It's called PH7. But FSG, what kind of... I got two questions for you. One is, what genre is that record label?
It's everything.
Everything. Good stuff.
Yeah. We started... there's a lot of country-ish music in there, but there's other indie, rock... started with some hip hop. There's death metal on there. It's a little bit of everything. Just whatever we could do to like kind of create noise in town.
Oh my gosh, I was about to ask two, but you gotta have three. What? Why? Okay, two. What? Why? Why so many genres?
Like I was saying before, it's whatever. There was no like same as Feels So Good Prince. Like there's no through line. Whatever we think is cool is like what we wanted to work with, and if they were friends of ours or a friend of a friend or something like that, if we think it's cool, we're gonna like take a chance on it and work with them.
Hey man, I like that a lot. That's cool, Justin. The third one was, you said you are doing this and you said that any more promotion behind these artists is just going to make that difference. My question is to you, how do you know, or what is enough?
What's enough promotion?
I know, man. I know. I struggle with this.
There's never enough.
Never enough. I know.
Even like us sending out, like we have a pretty big like email list, social following on the Feel So Good Print side. Nothing's ever gonna be enough until I don't know, these guys are touring in private jets or something like that, right?
I know, right?
But I don't know. Even if it's locally, even just promoting a local show, like. Getting somebody
it makes
out
a difference, right?
Literally anything at all. If you can get 2 more people in a venue, that's cool.
I got myself under this thinking that I couldn't, like, oh my God, I can't throw a big show. But then an artist comes to you and say, can you help me throw a show? I want to do something. Like, no matter what the turnout, you've put a show together.
It's surprisingly easy and difficult at the same time. Even the stuff we were throwing, like the bigger artists, like throwback artists, we were like trying to book there, like Lil Flips and Tommy Wright III and people like that. It's really honestly just like an email away, or getting in contact with a manager, hoping they show up. But yeah, it's if you can track it down, I mean, and sell some tickets, you're good to go.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks, Justin.
Mm-hmm.
I have a and this is for anybody who's running a record label in there too. What could you offer an artist, like in 2026? We know that music is kind of going DIY, and like what could you offer artists? Let's say an artist that knows well his value, has his own website, maybe has his own little following or whatever, and maybe able to produce hits as well. What can you do for that artist, or what can a record label going forward be able to do for that artist?
Anybody can do it DIY, and honestly, if somebody is already like at that level to where they can do it by themselves, I don't think that they need a label. It's more for, I think for us, it's more for support, promotion, and some relationships that like we've been building on the outside with like distribution companies, record distribution places, people like BMI, some showcases that we've been offered to like put artists onto and things like that. A lot of fringe stuff, but it's not needed. Like if you're already on like a good trajectory, you don't need it at all. As long as you're active, you're doing the things you need to be doing, you're active on socials, you're putting music out regularly, interacting with your fan base, you don't. I think we've been lucky here recently to get some like really good opportunities through some distribution stuff, which I think will pay off big time, pitching to like Spotify playlists and things like that to really like get the streams up. I think that's the relationships the labels will build with people on the outside that the individual artists may not have all the time. And I'm not saying we're not big time or anything like that. We're still, trying to get out here. But I think that's the relationships that the label has, that if they send an email to someone, will that get read over the artist that's trying to break through? Will that email get read? Type of thing.
Now, when it comes down to artists and different sponsors that you receive, do you primarily see them sourced from which industries do you see them source mostly from?
How do you mean exactly?
Sponsors for different events,
shows, for us,
streams,
honestly,
viewership.
Alcohol industry has been huge for show sponsorship. Pretty much everything that we have done in the past has been by a local liquor, beer company, more THC, CBD stuff here in the past couple years. But the alcohol companies have a lot of money and they like to throw it around. It's been a huge help. Also partnering with like Ham and Sims on multiple events and things like that. But yeah, liquor companies in town have been pretty huge for that.
We actually have someone from Ham here, Health Alliance of Austin Musicians. Yay, give them a round of applause. Woo! Thank you for all your work. Huh? 2 more? Yeah, okay.
Hey, Justin. I'm here supporting my friend here, DJ Munoz. I kind of want to touch on the point you said earlier. I found it really interesting, and I'm really curious about it. It's sort of a two-parter. One thing, there seems to be a lot of struggle for artists, whether they get extremely famous and at the top of the mountain, or they're halfway there. But I think there's a sense of a problem where people never have enough, right? One, how do you see that struggle with artists? Do you see it often? And two, also, when it happens, are artists that you see that tend to, not have trouble with that problem, or kind of sway away from that problem? How do you see them, sort of take their mindset and through their career on that kind of path and not get too ahead of it?
Maybe this is just a me thing, but I've baby stepped a lot in life. Like starting FSG, I was still working a day job. I don't know. I feel like you need to, if you're making music, you need to make music because you absolutely love making music. I'm obviously not a famous musician or anything like that. But I don't know. I think first and foremost, it has to be just something you love. And even though you love to make it a career and do whatever, you have to love doing it first. And so no matter what happens, it's just come back to like, this is a hobby. Same for me with screen printing. It was basically a hobby until like I quit my day job and started doing it more often. I look at it as a hobby until you can actually turn it into a business. Keep doing it for long enough and it will grow and you'll do it. But I don't know, if you're dead set on just becoming famous, it may or may not happen. And I don't know, I don't like to set myself up for things like that. Even if you think that is like your path, then just keep fucking doing it.
Thank you.
Hi, Keiko Tay with Amplify EDM. Thanks for being here. So a lot of artists get really excited when they get a deal with a label, and sometimes they don't really fully look over the contract terms. And as a label head yourself, what's your perspective on how important it is for artists to really understand the terms that they're getting into, and what they should be paying attention closest to when signing a deal?
I was just talking about this today. So when we didn't even have contracts when we first started doing this. It was all just straight homie stuff. It was pretty clear what we were doing. We eventually turned it into a one-sheet contract. It was colorful. Every single thing we were doing was outlined there. All the intricacies weren't there, but like, this probably would not have held up in any legal court or anything like that. But we wanted to make it as clear and simple and concise as possible. And then we had a couple artists come on with like their management team wanting full-on 20-page contracts and things like that. So we eventually started doing that. Now we're working backwards to get it more concise again. I don't want anybody to have to go and hire a lawyer to like understand what they're signing. To me, if you can make it as clear as possible, maybe if you're having a backup contract or whatever, but like from the start, I was trying to make it as easy as humanly possible for anybody to understand.
So looking for transparency and trust,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
And is that it? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for the questions. Thank you, Justin, for
Thanks for
being
having me.
here. So honored. Yeah, give a round of applause. Are you sticking around, Justin? Okay. Justin is sticking around. So after the next interview with Jazz, we'll have the open town hall, and then everyone can network again. So he will be here as well. So our next guest has experienced the music industry from nearly every single angle as a performing artist, artist manager, nonprofit leader. Please help me welcome Jazz Mills. Sorry, do you want to sit this side? I don't care. Doesn't matter how you want. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna sit here. So. I'm used to this angle now. How cool does Jazz look?
Thanks.
So cool. I love this outfit. Oh my God, I didn't even see the shoes. Wait, Adidas has loafers?
See.
Since when? What?
Yeah, it took me 4 seconds. I saw the ad and was like, click.
That's amazing. So yeah, I want to start the same with you, Jazz, because you've had an incredible journey, and we actually got to talk more before everyone got here. Tell us more about how you started in music and the creative industry, and also where you're from, because you said that had an impact as well.
Yes, I'm from San Angelo. It's in West Texas, or on the cusp of West Texas. I grew up in a very musical family, very Sound of Music, very square. You know, everybody join in. All my aunts, all my cousins, we're all singing the songs together. Everybody knows the part to take. So I grew up in a very harmonious, like not just, there wasn't like a lead singer. There wasn't anyone in my family that was trying to like be a musician. It was just, we all sing, we love to sing. There's no competition here, which I think did very much influence my career, or it influenced my career, the way I felt on stage, the way I felt about stage. It influenced how many problems I actually have with the music industry, how I didn't feel personally cut out for it. I felt like I want to sing, that's it. I don't care if people like it or don't like it. I don't want to worry about what I wear or what genre I sing or which, I didn't want to be I didn't want to be pigeonholed. I just wanted to sing, and I think I learned very early on when I started touring that was not the name of the game, that people expected you to be able to market yourself and, which I think in any other industry, your branding, the marketing, the visuals of it are real paramount, because it's how people experience the product initially, But if your product sucks, then people will quickly figure that out. So it doesn't necessarily lead to sustainable career, sustainable productivity. It's the same way in music, but even more so that like there's a lot of good music out there. A lot of people can sing. There's a lot of bands. There, you know, I've seen a lot of good shows in my life. It's very rare for me to have my mind blown, for me to be like, holy fuck, who the fuck is that? You know, like, where these people have been. That is so rare. Like, most of the time when people go out, I think the general public who are not very, that don't know much about music, they just like music, in their brains, they're like, music, music, live music, country music, DJ. You know, they're like, I'm having a good time, I'm not having a good time. I like this band more than the last band I saw. I like this show more than I liked this show last time I was here. But to hold someone in the palm of your hand to where they're like, I'll do whatever that bitch says. I'll go to every single show she ever plays, and I will buy all the merch, and I'm on the verge of tears, you know, like, that's different. And like, that is how you get fans. That is where longevity comes from. It's where sustainability comes from, is that people sink their claws in you. They don't want to leave you. They have no plans to leave you. You do not have to ask them to pay attention to you anymore. You don't have to beg them to, have you considered being a fan? Have you considered buying this merch? That would be really helpful. It's like, you don't have to ask them. They will do it. And so I think coming from a place where I grew up, where we sang because we wanted to, and because of the way it made me feel, and the way it made people in our living room feel, or the women that we sang to at the retirement home or the soup kitchen. It was like very feeling based, and that rooted my relationship to music and the music industry, I think, in something very solid, and helped me manage expectations from the beginning. That like the thing to focus on is, how do I feel when I'm on stage? How do these people feel when I'm on stage? And I have very little control of anything other than that. You know, like, I don't know who asked it, but it was about the promotional question. I was like trying to pull my hair out in the back, but like, I think something people really need to think about music is that there is not a code for you to crack. If anybody sits up here and tells you, all you gotta do is beep, 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 delete that from they don't know that. If that was true, we would all be successful. There would just be successful bands running around everywhere. But there is no code to crack. And it is very similar to asking someone like, hey, you've been in love, right? Like, what do I do? You know, like, should I be smaller? Should I be curvier? Like, do you think I should go on these types of dates? Like, should I advocate for myself more? Should I advocate for myself less? Should I post more pictures? Should I post, more modest pictures? Like, what should I do so that people go, oh, good, perfect. Well, now you can be in love. You know, it's like, that's obviously not how that works. And music and all the arts are similar. There are things that you can do that might increase your chances. The more love I put into myself, does that increase the chances of like my king coming around and being like, you're a badass bitch? I'm like, obviously I've put in like a ton of effort into that, but like, sure, that increases my chances, but that doesn't mean people just line up outside the door now. You know, I still have to live my life. Some of it is up to chance. It will happen organically for me. And it's the same within the art space. There are things that you can do. There are things that are necessary, kind of. But like, there are shitty bands that are gonna be popular, unfortunately. And I mean truly shitty, not like that's my opinion. Like, that band is bad, you know? And like, and they will be popular. And there are bands that I think it's very important to recognize that there are a lot of people that have come before us today that were brilliant. They were geniuses at what they do. They deserved it. It didn't happen for them. And they didn't do anything wrong. It's just like, I could tell everybody in here, like, run, run, run. Eat your protein bars. You too can be an NFL quarterback. Just don't give up. And I'm like, that's a lie. You know, like, that's not true. There's not that many NFL quarterbacks. So we can keep telling everybody that just do not give up. Just don't give up and it'll happen for you. That's not true. And people should stop telling musicians that for sure. That like, if you just do enough of this, or if you just hang in there, it'll happen for you. I'm like, that's not true. Or we would just have so many successful bands, you know? Anyways, next question. I could go.
I just wanted to let you go. I love hearing you talk, honestly. I would go to like a show of Jazz Mills, like just hearing you talk.
Well,
You're amazing.
I mean, someone's got to say it. Like, I'm just tired of hearing people talk to musicians that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And we should touch on that more. Just to kind of dial it back a little, because you told me, so you were in the choir. What were like your first musical experiences? Because I met you as an artist, performing artist, and I think that was a very impactful point in your life, I feel like. And you've done a lot in the music scene as an artist before doing all these other things as an artist manager or as a nonprofit director. And Free Lunch is a nonprofit.
It's not.
Oh my God! I keep saying nonprofit. Is
but
it?
People
Is it?
think we are.
What is it? Is it?
It's just a business.
It's an LLC. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Sorry. Dialing back though, what were your experiences in music and just being a performer? Like, tell us about how you started and just how you broke into actually being a performer yourself. And talk about your mom, because you said your mom is a folk artist, right?
Yeah, she's truly a folk artist. You know, she sings Simon and Garfunkel type shit, you know, about like, she wrote about whatever she saw out the window that day. And there's nothing performative about that type of like creative, that type of artist. It's like, my mom would get on stage and she'd sing a true story in her jeans and a t-shirt, and I watched her, people were obsessed with her. And I think she does have an incredible voice, but I think they were just obsessed with how she made them feel. And to this day, my mom still has like the most successful album release I've ever been to. And it was in my hometown at a place called the Chicken Farm, which used to be a chicken farm and is now an artist residency space. And my mom had an album release. I drove down from Austin with my bandmates at the time, and they were mind blown. It was just like, there was like 300 people at this chicken farm. It was free. Everybody brought chairs to sit in. They were stuffing these hats with cash. My mom sold like 100 CDs that night. You know, I was like, this is when I talk about community and people remembering that art is a sacred place, that I'm not trying to be just like dramatic about that. If you treat it that way, people feel that way about it, and then you don't have to worry about like, I had to market myself or did I say the right thing. It's like, people like the way you make them feel and they'll keep coming, and they trust you, they have a relationship. That's a real fan. You know, and you can have real fans through social media as well, but you have to be really funny, you know, or really poignant or something. And that still falls back on like, how are you making people feel? So yeah, I mean, I grew up in that area, just watching people experience music that way. And I was in choir, and I sang at like soup kitchens. I sang the national anthem at my college football games and stuff like that. But it wasn't until I was in college and I met a guy, and he moved to Austin. I followed him from college to Austin, and the band he was in, they needed a background singer for this one show, and he said, you know, my girlfriend can sing. And everybody was like, no, we don't want your girlfriend a part of this band. But then I came in, I did a practice, and then they were like, you're in this band now. And so that was how I started being in a band.
What band was that again?
That was called T-Bird and the Breaks. And
so good.
I had zero intentions of being in a band, but had a good time, met a lot of good friends. As soon as I got kicked out of that band, full transparency, I found myself in another band called Cowboy and Indian, like almost months later, and was just immediately on tour. And was on tour until I had my daughter a couple years later. And so I will say something, that going back to this whole like code, like cracking the code, or what's the thing you can do, or people talk a lot about like, I just need to get in front of these couple people. That is a myth. Like, there's not like a person out there. Like there are good people in the music industry, but like I did a showcase in LA. This is, to answer your question, this is really when my relationship to being a performer fractured. And I didn't want to be on the artist side anymore. I wanted to be on the industry side of it because I was like, we got to change all this. But I played a showcase in LA, and our manager had asked all these huge labels to come out, and there was no public, nobody in the public there. It was just all label people. And this woman came up to me that worked for Sony at the time, and she was like crying. And she was like, I've been waiting for your type of voice for a very long time. This is what I've been looking for. This is perfect. Like, I know exactly, you know, what we can do with you. She was so moved. And then she was like, you know, but we do, like, in order for me to take you to my boss and show my boss, like, basically for me to pitch you to the higher ups on, like, why I think they should sign y'all. She was like, we really need to work on, like, I realize you don't have a Twitter, or like you're not that active on social media. Or she started talking about, you know, how I would be marketed, how I would look, all of those things. And I was just sort of like, this is really sad that like musicians think that all that really matters is that I'll just have to be really good at what I do. I even thought that at the time. I was like, all that matters is that I can sing, and someone will recognize that, and then you'll get there. But that's not true. Like, somebody recognizes, oh, she's really talented, we can do something with her, but then I have to shapeshift into a version. Some people are willing to do that, and that there's no shame in that. That's okay. But like, I wasn't. I wanted to be able to get on stage and sing, and that's it. And so you kind of have to ask yourself that too, that like, what am I willing to do? Like, what do I want? And do the things that I want come with like sacrifice? You know, because usually the more you ask from people in the industry, the more you take from people in the industry, that is not free. That is because you're doing what you're told, or you have negotiated, or someone has helped you negotiate, you know, I'll sacrifice these things and not these things. But it's like, it's a interesting thing to try to blend the two universes of something that is like, this is a business and this is not. Like, music as a craft is not a business. It's a sacred place. It's like church for people that can't really be monetized, and a value can't be put on it. And the industry for years and years and years, their goal was to do that because that was in their best interest. And I actually think it's good to be having these types of conversations right now, because this is the very first time in the history of there even being a music industry that musicians are recognizing that they might have the opportunity to leverage some of this for themselves. Like, the industry has never, ever been for artists. And now the general public is exhausted by AI and exhausted by social media content, and they're a little bit tired of all of that, and they want to feel something. They want to touch somebody. They want to smell somebody. They want to see something that's not perfect. And it's giving artists an opportunity to be like, cool, start advocating for yourself then, because this industry doesn't exist without you. They do not have jobs without you. And they know that. Like, they're scrambling big time right now on the industry side of things. So yeah, that was how I got into music and why I left it.
Right, her own show, right? We're just like locked in. We need to do some videos with you, Jazz, like
no
beyond. God. Wow. Okay. So you already kind of answered my next two questions. Is it okay if we mention who you were in the band with?
Sure.
Okay. She was in a band with Jesse Plemons. Do you guys know Jesse? He was in Friday Night Lights and all this stuff, but I saw them in the what's that big government building called again? The Capitol, right? Performing. They did a beautiful. It's still online.
I don't think it is actually.
It isn't?
I don't think so.
Oh no. They did such a beautiful performance in the Capitol, and man, we have some of her music. We want to play Jazz's music after this. But when she says like music is sacred, her voice is sacred, and Yeah, and I think that's really powerful talking to that. And I think you're right. More people also have to talk about the power of artists and the power that we have inside of us and how important that is. So let me see. You answered those questions. So I guess, well, okay. So what is maybe one thing you wish you would have known as an artist that you know today, but that you didn't know then? I know you kind of talked on that. Is there anything more you want to elaborate on, like specific?
I think I just didn't have a voice, which is pretty normal when you're young, because you're like, I don't know, like these people say this is the way it is, and I don't know, I'm young and don't have any experience, so I guess this is the way it is. But I think I wish that someone had stepped in and sort of brought this type of energy that I try to bring to the artists I work with now, is being like, you can do whatever you want whenever you want to, period. That's like the whole point of being an artist. And if someone tells you, yeah, well, you know, these days people are doing that, it's like, well, then don't go anywhere near there. That's so counterintuitive as an artist. You know, like, do you want a career in the music industry? Do you want a career as an artist? Do you want to be an artist? What do you want? You know, like, if you're like, people say that all the time, even bands that I'll consult, they're like, I just want to be an artist. I'm like, congrats, you made it. You know, like, that's a beautiful thing, to live a life as a creative. That the gift that you're given from the start, if you choose to live your life as a creative, is your life is inherently much more full than people who don't live creative lives. It's a part of your brain that you've decided to activate that can escape the brutal parts of life, the mundane parts of life, heartbreak, abuse of power, all these things that, you know, just like weigh us down constantly. As an artist, you can be like, yeah, well, I'm gonna daydream about this whole other thing, and I'm gonna write a script, and I'm gonna write and you all of a sudden realize that you can exist in another dimension without leaving reality. And like, that is a superpower. And if someone tells you like, well, that superpower is supposed to be used this way, that makes no sense. You know? And so I think if somebody says, hey, I am an artist, but I would like a career, I'm willing to go into the industry, that's fine, you know? But like, it is about like your own personal relationship to your craft. What does your craft mean to you? There are people out there who are like, I don't give a shit about music. I just like holding a guitar and like wearing Wranglers, and I like playing these shows. It's like, that's okay. You can do that, you know? Like, I just think that a lot of the musicians I end up consulting, I'm like, it sounds like you need to fall back in love with music. You know, like, you're worried about things that have nothing to do with being an artist. And it's hard to tell somebody that because it feels counterintuitive. It feels counterproductive to be like, oh yeah, all the viral stuff, the social media, the content, don't worry about that. It's like, that feels wrong because it is what everyone's doing, you know? But I'm like, I have a lot of friends who do that daily. I'm not watching anything happen to their career because of it. You know, they might stay a little bit more relevant than some of the other local musicians in town. That's not nothing. But like, I have not watched anybody who didn't take like tens of thousands of dollars and put it into marketing or PR. I haven't seen anyone's trajectory go up like this because they post every day, you know? And same with businesses. Businesses would be selling a lot of lotion and a lot of shoes if that's all it took, you know? And they're spending millions of dollars on marketing.
Billions.
Yeah. Millions.
92 billion in 2025.
So if people are spending that amount of money to sell shoes that end up don't sell, then it's like not, it doesn't make a ton of sense for an artist to be like, what's really gonna get me there, what's gonna get me true solid fans and sustainability is me posting another video of myself reminding people that I have a show this weekend. I'm like, we all have a show this weekend. You know, like, what is gonna set you apart is that people will be like, I like them. Like, I went to their show and it blew my mind, or I met them in person and they were real. Like, I like that person. You know, there are some people that support me at Free Lunch because they like me. They don't care about homeless people. And I don't care that they don't care about homeless people. I'm like, give me your money, you know? But like, I think, you know, fall back in love with your craft and then look inward at like, what other things are you good at? You know, there's a lot of musicians that are like really difficult people to be around. I'm like, that might have something to do with the fact that like your career is not moving forward. People don't like you.
So, okay, so how did you, it sounds like, well, I guess we kind of have the answers of why you're doing what you're doing. So you're in artist management, kind of what got you into artist management? Who are you managing now? And can you talk more about the shows you're putting on? I know one of your artists had a film just come out and sold out, like at the theater, like 3 different shows.
Yeah.
And you did a live. We'll talk more about the performance and that whole experience, because what you're talking about now, it's like physical experience, getting one-on-one with the artist, creating experiences around that. Kind of now, let's shift to like you being artist manager. Like, what place are you coming from with artist management, and tell us more about your artists.
I manage a band called Rattlesnake Milk and another band called Bruce, and they're completely different. Rattlesnake Milk is sort of West Texas mafia, dark country-ish, very cinematic. They have a lot of crossover potential. They do really well in like backwoods honky-tonk places, and they do really well in like hipster Brooklyn spots. So they found their little, they're like, I call them like the Selena of country music. Like they've like found their crossover potential. Bruce is very different. She's avant-garde. She makes people, I think, very uncomfortable in a good way, not in a way that's just
A
like
great way.
Yeah, that's not just like, oh, she's offensive, but like she makes people have a couple thoughts during their show. I would consider her live shows to be more like performance art. She will most likely do the splits. She could be wearing clothes. She might not be wearing clothes. Like, she could be singing an opera, you know, an acoustic a cappella song. She could have her full band. Like, she's keeping people on her toes. She's doing whatever she wants.
Coming out of a coffin.
Yeah, it's one of the main reasons why, it is the main reason why I was willing to manage her, because we're really good friends. We started freelance together. Our lives already have a lot of overlap, and I was nervous about working together in that capacity. But when she started this new project and I saw her perform, I was like, I will manage anybody who enters the art space like that, with like so much courage and is different and like truly original. And I just challenge everybody in the room that like, if you want to see yourself as an original and you think of yourself as an original, buckle up for like a long road of isolation that is lonely. If you're an original person, if you have original thoughts, nobody in the room gets it. It's not their thought. That doesn't make any sense to them. That's not how people do it. You know, like, it's lonely. Like, the band, Bruce it's lonely for her because she has to go out on stage all the time and sort of just hope people like it, you know, instead of doing something that she's pretty sure people will like. And so I think managing them, both bands are very close to me. They're like family to me. Rattlesnake Milk, it was a joke. I had managed them unofficially for a very long time, and then they were sort of imploding, and were just like, will you manage us for real? And I think they just needed somebody to care. They needed someone to believe in them outside of the band. And that band does whatever they want. They do not post anything on social media. I have to beg them to post about their show to let people know that they even have a show. But like, they don't make content for festivals. They don't work with brands. They record and write together in Lockhart. They drink together, watch Cowboys games. They tour. That's it. Like, and I think, you know, a lot of the bands that I've been working with are asking me for that code. What is it that y'all did? You know, what did Rattlesnake Milk do that made them have this moment? Because now they're popping off. Like, their streaming went nuts a couple years ago. And it's not that there's not things helping them within the industry. Streaming is a real thing. That's not nothing, you know. But, like, there isn't something I can say that we did that somebody else should do and it'll happen for them, you know. it was an easy yes for me to get involved in artist management, though, because I love taking people's money and giving it to artists. It feels like the closest I could ever get to Robin Hood, you know, to be like, you're lying, you do have money, give it to this artist. If you don't give it to them, they are not playing. And when people say, oh, that budget is too much for us, I can say, cool, well, you can save your money and you'll have the budget for next year if you really want them to play. Our answer is not no, it's just not, it's no to that deal. And like, I have a lot of people ask me, you know, like, are you even open to deals for Rattlesnake Milk or for Bruce? I'm like, I'm open to good deals. It would make me bad at my job if I was open to bad deals. That's not just bad for the band I work with, that's just bad business. Why would I say yes? That's a bad idea, you know? But the music industry for a very long time has banked on the fact that no one will say that and that artists don't even know if it's a bad deal. And it would be ideal if you had a manager, someone who will answer these emails for you and advocate for you. But even if you don't, if someone hands you a contract and you say, I don't know how to read this and I cannot pay a lawyer 3 hours of their fee to explain this, we do live in a time where most of that, it'll take some, it's kind of labor intensive, but you can type that in the computer and say, what does this sentence mean? And it'll tell you, you know, like it's, 2 seconds. Yeah, like, and so when people are like, I don't know what to do, I'm like, you know, like, it's so fast, and and those contracts are very intimidating, and they seem like if you make a wrong step, you're gonna go to the penitentiary. But like, it's just English, you know. And if you break it down, you can recognize like, oh, I see what they're doing here, and that's a bad deal for me. You know, you can also ask questions. That's something people should keep in mind. Like, if someone offers you something for a show or offers you a deal or there's a contract involved or whatever and something feels weird about it, ask the question. A lot of the times when you ask a question, they were not expecting you to ask that and they don't have the answer. And then it shows their hand, that you actually have way more leverage than you thought. Because a lot of people are expecting you to answer the email with yes. And if you go, I don't know, that doesn't make sense to me. Can you explain to me the second paragraph and like what that means to my artist? Or like beep bop bop. As soon as I ask any questions, people are like, fuck. Like, I like didn't expect her to have any questions at all. And, you know, a lot of them don't know what they're doing. That's true. There's a lot of people in the music industry who don't know what they're doing. Like, they're a producer's nephew, you know, or somebody's cousin or someone. There's a bunch of that in the industry. A bunch of people are like, I don't know, I just started a label. And they don't know anything, you know, and by asking those questions, by networking, by talking more and more, you like the more educated that you are about this, the more leverage you have.
Absolutely.
And what you were saying about like, well, no, I don't remember, but like I think the reason the show. Carrie's show. That's a perfect example of like how you can bridge these two gaps between promotion.
She did a live show. So
yeah. So this is a perfect example of like how do you bridge capitalism and like genuine art. And obviously if you're gonna do a show, you want people to come to it. You want them to buy the tickets because that's how we make money. But I knew that I was like, nobody cares that your album is coming out. It's not that they don't care about you or they don't want you to make music. There's just way too many things for them to care about. And there's a lot, and some people don't even have the luxury of knowing what is going on in their city creatively because their lives are so stressful that to expect them to just remember that you have a show is a little bit pretentious, actually. It's a little bit disrespectful, and it's a little bit, like, naive. To think that just because you made an announcement and you made it again, you made it again, and you made it again, that everyone's gonna remember and prioritize the fact that you have music coming out. That doesn't make any sense. You know, we're old enough now. I'm 40. I don't know how old y'all are, but like I'm old enough now to know for a fact people in general don't really care about what's going on in my life. They can't. Why would they? They have their own lives going on. So if I want them to pay attention to something, I'm trying to give them a gift, we're trying to put on a really cool show that we feel like is gonna make them feel a certain type of way, we need to really show up. That needs to be like an actual gift we're handing somebody. We need to be promising an experience that they're like, that was wild, you know? And so when Carrie, that's Bruce, the other artist I managed, when she said she was going to release her album, she was like, I want to do it in the church. They're Central Presbyterian, which is right across the street, lets bands do live music, by the way. They have wonderful acoustics, and they're very chill. Like I said, Carrie is naked most of the time. They were aware, you know, they're very cool and open. So we were like, let's do it in the church. It'll be, we know you have like your audience captive. There's not a bar they can go to. There's nothing else going on except for to look forward, watch the show. I was the bad guy during that production and told everybody, we're not going to take your phones from you, but you cannot video this. You can't take photos, nothing. Just watch the show. And she put on this insane performance. Like, Carrie is an extreme, brilliant performer, but she put on this insane performance with this live band and a cabaret part and a ballerina.
Kind of like Rocky Horror Picture in a way.
Yes, multiple outfit changes. She crawled through the back up to a balcony, almost fell off the balcony and like caught herself and then like made up a lyric
kept
about
performing?
that. Yeah, she just like kept going. We filmed the whole thing. And that was it sold out like that because people were just like, this feels different. This feels like an experience. We invited people to dress up. It was a funeral and a wedding. So we were like, this is going to be filmed. Dress as if you're coming to a funeral or a wedding, whatever that means to you. Some people came in full gowns. Some people came with veils. Like the audience was involved in the show. It was not, they were a part of it. At the very least, there were people that were coming that had never heard of Bruce, but they just wanted to dress as a bride. You know, it gave this like little extra thing for them to do, and for them to get their picture taken at this thing that didn't feel like it's just me at the White Horse again. It's me dressed as a bride at this church for this. It was a whole other thing, and because it was filmed, it was a very expensive show to put together, but because it was filmed, we made about half of the amount of money back from the church show. But then we premiered the film and made the rest of the money back. And we're premiering this
sold out.
And we're premiering the film again every year. So now that has become just consistent ways for her to make money off of this one show. You know, and we have turned it into sort of a Rocky Horror Picture Show thing where it's like when people come back to watch it, dress like a character in this show, dress like you're at a funeral or you're the bride or you're, an usher, whatever, a bridesmaid. So for me, it was like that was a very expensive show to put on. It did take a lot of time, but we did not have to beg people to come, and we didn't have to beg people to talk about it afterwards. That was free PR. They kept talking about it. You know what I mean? And like, I bet everyone in here would agree that one of the hardest parts about being an artist is trying to like convince people to be a fan, which you can't do. It is the equivalent of me being like, have you considered being in love with me? You know, like, please? It's like, it doesn't matter how much I ask, you are or you aren't, you know? And the better art you put out there, the more you create, the more people they'll do that without you asking, you know?
I so wish we had more time. So, but I do want to make time for the audience questions.
I love questions.
Tell us about Free Lunch, kind of like how it started, what it is, and then let's open it up for more questions from the audience. Because I have plenty more questions, but I'd rather have enough time for y'all to ask some questions to Jess.
Well, I mean, I could talk about Free Lunch till I die, but it's a meal support program that I started with my friends during COVID when we couldn't play shows anymore. And it started as 1 day a week in my house, and now we're in a commissary. We do 7 days a week. We're responsible for almost 150,000 meals a year now that go to 2 different shelters in town. It's a very long story, actually. It's had many evolutions, but we just don't have enough time for that, and that's my fault. But
oh, great.
But but anything you want to know about Free Lunch, you could ask me. You could reach out to us on Instagram. I'll be the person that answers. If you email us, I'll be the person that answers. But also, almost anything that you'd want to know about it is online. But
talk about the zine though, and like your spaghetti night, the red night. It's just so cool, and it's so creative how you also built that business around Free Lunch too.
Yeah, so the spaghetti dinner, it's called the Big Red. We do it once a year. This is another example of the church show. I can't ask people to care about food insecure people. They either do or they don't. And I don't want to spend my life evangelizing to people. So the kind of ego business side of me understands that I might be able to trick people into giving a shit or pretending like they give a shit. If I throw a cool party that people are like, I want to go to this party, I want to be a part of this cool night, I'm willing to pay $25 to go to it because this party sounds fun. They don't need to know that that money is for free lunch. I mean, they know that we are presenting the event, but they're not coming because they care about free lunch or because they care about homeless people. They're coming because we said we throw this like culty-ish type party once a year where it's all you can eat spaghetti and you have to wear all red and we have bands play and
Fashion show?
We don't do a fashion show, but it's like, it's people, it's very surreal. Some people just wear a red sweatsuit. Some people dress up as a 9-foot lobster. Like, it gets very surreal and cool, but people come because they want to be a part of that. Some people come because they are like, we love free lunch, we want to support them. But most of the people that come now come because they're like, I plan my outfit all year, I want the free spaghetti. And so that's another way of sort of like the church show. We didn't really have to ask people to come support Bruce. It was like, is it worth it to you to come to pay to be a part of this experience? Which people were like, yes. And it's the same with the Big Red. Is it worth $25 to like come see these cool bands play at Sagebrush, wear all red, have as much spaghetti as you want? Yes. If I had said, please, please, please consider coming to our free lunch Christmas party where we fundraise money for free lunch, nobody would have come. Or we would have had like 20 people as opposed to 300 people. So free lunch is essentially, when I quit music as the performing side of it, it was like I became my band again. Like, I consider this to be a show. Some people will feel something about something I said and be like, hey, I want to talk to you after, or I have follow-up questions. And most people will be like, I don't remember and I don't care, and I approach free lunch the same way I did music, which is like, I don't have a lot of control over what people decide about me and my craft. All I really have control over is like, once I get someone's attention, what really matters is what I'm doing, like, badass or not, because you have one shot really. If you get someone's attention and you fuck it up, because you're like, oh, like, that last album, like, don't listen to that. It's, like, not my greatest stuff. It's like, well, they're not coming back. What you should have been focused on is your catalog good? Do you have something to show? Don't worry about who's on the way or whose door you're trying to get into. What if you get into their door and you're not ready? It's never happening again. Focus on, like, do you do good work? If you do good work, then that whole saying of, like, it will come to you, that is true. But it'll come to you, like, in bit by bit. And it'll be because you impressed people. And yeah, so that's free lunch.
The last thing about free lunch though is just the zine. The zine is so cool, and then we'll open it for questions. How does the zine work? You give out recipes. It's like, tell us how it works, because I love it. I think it's a great idea, and it also kind of aligns with like the way artists can think about like, creative ways we can connect with community.
Yeah, which that also leads into like, the more things you can do that are not super digital, the better. Like, think of things that you can do as an artist that people can touch. I knew that we needed consistent income for free lunch in order to do it all the time, but I didn't want to spend my days talking to people about supporting us. And so we decided we would publish a magazine because it would be a creative outlet for us. We have photographers on staff. We're all musicians. We had still have a professional BMX rider on staff. And like, we were able to capitalize on that, like on who we were personally, by publishing a magazine and including like the BMX side of our life, the musician side of our lives, the chefs, the recipes, things like that. And so we had a lot of people that were sort of like, that's an easy sell. I'm happy to give you $10 a month to support your cause. And instead of us having to give them like an emailed newsletter, they received a magazine. And the magazine was proof that we did what we said we would do with their money, which was feed these people. So it was like, it also, we like circumvented working with the government. Because when you're a nonprofit, there's a lot of bureaucracy in there. You know, if you want to change courses, this programming doesn't work, you can't do that. We're not even allowed to spend that money on this, blah, blah, blah. Being a business and saying, we're actually not a nonprofit, we are a magazine. This is what we do with our money, but we're just a business. It's transactional. People give us $10 a month, they get a magazine in return. That's all they get. But it's like this sort of, it created this very cool relationship between us and the general public, where they actually recognize that the way we're feeding all these people is because of their magazine subscription, and that the more people that subscribe to the magazine, the more people we feed. And it was cool, and I think, like I said, an easy sell for people to recognize, like, oh, I give you $10 and you spend it on those meals, and there's no gray area, there's no other middleman, there's nobody taking fees. It's like you buy a magazine from us, we make food for these people, because the magazine is very low overhead. It's very relatively cheap to create a business off of a magazine, because you don't have to do it all the time. You're doing it quarterly. That's how it started. And then eventually we reached out to our subscribers and said, unless people care, can we do 2 big issues a year instead of 4? It'll save us about $15,000 to just do 2 issues. And nobody cared. You know, they were like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, but, you know, Free Lunch was, again, like our version of doing something that people were already doing. There's 150 other organizations in Austin that work in food insecurity. But ours was a different creative approach to, like, how can we be faster? How can we be more nuanced? Like, basically, as long as I don't break the law and I pay our taxes, the government can't intervene at all. And that's worth the fee, which I consider our taxes to be the fee we pay to be like, you can't touch anything we do, you know? So yeah, I feel like us like being a business and creating our magazine was essentially us being like, instead of waiting for a label, we'll start our own label. We can do it ourselves. Yeah, so we're entering year 6 of that.
Round of applause for that. Woo! Man, I'm so inspired by you, Jazz. I was so inspired by Justin. I want to open it up for questions, and then what time is it? Who has the time? 8:15. Okay, so we do have to be out of here by 9. So after these questions, we will open it up for a short town hall. The way our town halls work is basically you can get up on the mic, talk about what you do as an artist or an entrepreneur or a creative, and share what you do, or if you have a show coming up or whatever. And then we'll just end the night with networking. We will start cleaning up around 8:45, just the chairs. But you're welcome to stay in here. We just have to go out of here by 9. So yeah, but let's open up for some questions, and then we'll go right into the open town hall.
I'll save my one of my questions for the town hall. But the main question I wanted to ask you is that a lot of your anecdotal evidence naturally made us laugh. And I think it's really interesting because it seems like you've developed a nice little balance between business savvy and authenticity. And it feels like the authenticity starts to feed into the business savvy. Is that something that you feel like you've experienced where, you know, if you start taking yourself seriously, you start developing the acumen that kind of falls behind it? Or do you think you develop the savvy to show up into some of these rooms and be authentic because you're like, hey, I know what I'm talking about?
I love that question so much. And it is, I would say maybe it's both. You know, I do feel like there was an energy that I recognized early on in Free Lunch that anybody that I met with to talk about meal support or food insecurity within our town, I was sort of met with these like dead eyes of like, yeah, well, you know, there's this many homeless people and blah, blah, blah. And, like, just you could tell everybody had, like, given up, you know? Like, they were working, but they were sort of, like, annoyed that I was asking questions. Or they would say, like, you know, this is all online if you look here. And so I think I recognized pretty early on, like, I have to bring all the Italian side of my family to these meetings, you know, and be like, I need to either make someone feel uncomfortable, not because I'm being disrespectful or unprofessional, but I'm gonna say something they weren't expecting me to say, or laugh, or we will bond over the fact that we're both parents, you know, something that feels like, you can just see it in their eyes. You talk to someone long enough and you can see them be like, oh, damn, I was like not planning on paying attention to you until just now, you know? And like, and I'm not, like I said, that doesn't offend me. Like, I've been in this for 6 years, and it is hard after a while to talk about the same thing over and over and over, especially when you can tell the person is like, ugh, you know? So yeah, I do think that like, I've also recognized as I've gotten older, just personally outside of music and outside of business, that like I'm very open about like my own shame. And I don't mean that like I talked about my shame in business meetings, but like I'm very open about the fact that I have regrets, I have made mistakes, I'm a flawed person, and I also have redemptive qualities, and like people tend to connect with me over the hard stuff. You know, like when you're honest about, oh, I've experienced that, or like, then it's like very disarming for someone to be like, damn, that she basically just admitted that she has also had struggles with that, and so now I feel comfortable. I don't feel like I'm gonna be judged, you know, and that's allowed me to be a little bit more vulnerable. And then as soon as someone becomes comfortable and they feel like they have that rapport with you, they do want to talk about business. You know, and they'll typically say a lot of things that they would have never said had we not had that little like moment to see each other outside of it. So they very much inform each other. I think the more authentic I am, the better business I do, and the better business I do, like the more authentic I am. Like it's like feels very like yin yang, you know.
Yeah, cool. Hi, Jazz. I really appreciate your like just brutal honesty. I think it's really important to be logical and reasonable. So I want to go back to the point that you made about artists being told that, you know, if you just keep going, you're going to make it, right? I think there is, you know, to your point, a lot of ignorance in that statement. But I would also challenge it partially because part of what takes art to the next level is the persistency and drive to never give up, and that some of the most creative and greatest artists have produced some of their greatest art with carrying that mentality. And that mentality has pushed a lot of people where logic would say, give up, like you're done. And it's taken them to the heights they, you know, probably would have not seen. Obviously, they wouldn't have seen if they gave up. So my question is, how do you balance that mentality with also being reasonable about your journey as an artist? And what have you seen from your experience, people who stay consistent and succeed in that sort of mindset? And in the same position, where do you see people fail when they take on that mindset? Maybe not all the way, but I guess my question overall being, how do you keep a balance of that?
That's also a really great question. And like, I never want to misspeak and make people feel like I'm like, just give up. Like, I don't think that at all, but I think it's the balance for me is about managing expectations. It's not about giving up, but being like, you know, again, I always liken it back to like my relationship with men. If people say, Jazz, you're a queen, like you deserve a king who you can rely on, who blah, 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 blah. All the shit that people say, I'm like, it's not that I don't think I deserve it. I do think I deserve it. And I also believe that that's out there for me and for anybody else in whatever iteration they want of a partner. But just because I believe that, and just because I know I deserve it, and just because I put a ton of effort into my personal growth, does not mean that if I just hang in there, that guy's coming around the corner all of a sudden. That's not how life works. And so I think it's really about like, just managing the expectation of like, you should never give up on your craft. It's probably the most valuable thing in your life. If you don't have kids, you know, like that is the most like sacred thing you have is your craft as an artist. So you should protect that at all costs. You should never ever give up on it. But like, it's also like, okay, well then protect your mental health too. Protect your soul, you know, like, because even if we just took this room of people and we were all kids and I was like, you can all be NFL quarterbacks, that isn't true. Like, that isn't true. Even if you're like, well, I went to all the camps and I trained in the off season and I did, you know, not everybody can do that, you know? And like, that's just like me saying, hey, anything is possible. I've decided when my daughter goes to college in 4 years, I'm going to become an astronaut and go to the moon. Like, I could become an astronaut. I could go back to school and do a ton of work and actually graduate and become an astronaut. Will I go to the moon? Probably not, you know? And like, so I think it's like trying to, like, as artists, we kind of live in the clouds, which is good. That's good for our craft, you know? But I think being able to be like, okay, but sometimes your feet have to be on the ground. You know, sometimes, because like the dimension that you exist in to create art and to be like, none of this applies to me, I do whatever I want, is a dimension. It's a real dimension, but your real life is in this other one on Earth where gravity exists and like there are limitations, you know? And I think sometimes what I get nervous about is when I watch artists be like, I don't live there anymore, I live up here. You know, and I'm like, good luck with that. Like, it could work, it could, but it's just very rare. And so I think like, and people love to talk about community all the time. This is where community is gonna be really important. You know, is like, that's how you have the endurance to stay in your craft, to believe in your art, to keep doing it, is because you surround yourself with other people that you watch and go, man, I love that person, they're so good, I believe in them. It's not happening for them either, so it must not be a me thing. You know, like, you have to have that community to work with each other on like, hey, I looked up all this stuff about a contract, you should know this, you know, like, which by the way, I'm happy to tell people anything I know about anything. If you reach out to me after this about free lunch or music business or whatever, I will answer any question. That knowledge should be free. Like, but yeah, so anyways, to answer your question, I really think it's like, people should not give up. They should protect it at all costs, but be realistic. Be idealistic and realistic at the same time, you know? That's what I've had to learn from myself.
And okay, duality to your question and go on the other side.
Ooh, duality over here too. Let's get it a trinity, baby. I love three.
Now, what if a artist, let's say okay, fuck it. Just coming from my standpoint, a person who kind of like said fuck music for a while, because my manager Pooh, which was able to go, he knew every fucking DJ Holiday, DJ Drama, he fucking got killed, right? He signed the artist and the artist had him at a music video, had him in some shit, and he ended up getting killed, right? Then I had my homegirl, she booked Tiana Taylor. So next thing I know, I get out of prison, I'm in Tiana Taylor in the Mon Shrimper house. They finna sign me. I end up not fucking with her. You know what I'm saying? I was gonna sign, you know, Lil Uzi Vert, the deal that he signed to Generation Now, I swear to God, that was supposed to be me. So that got soured off. So coming from a duality as a person coming back in it, and it's people like hitting me up every day still asking for music, what should an artist do now who still has it? Like who has it? Because I know, like, you remind me a lot of, I'm not comparing you in no way to her at all, but you give me the same feeling that Wendy Day gives me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you heard about her, but she's the one who got Cash Money, like they big deal, they $30 million deal that they own till today. You give me them type of vibes. So what would you do with an artist who, like you saying, like, who artists who really, you know, I know what you mean. You got artists who really don't got it, but they fucking keep fucking going. You know what I mean? And then it's like people like me who got it, but then you like, it's like, fuck this shit. You know what I'm saying? But then you like, what would you do with a person like me who, but still has a vision? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, me personally, I would spend a lot of time with you, personal time with you, because I think what I hear a lot of artists say is like, I've done everything. I'm like, probably not. You know, like every artist that I know that's like, I've done everything I think of. I'm like, you played 4 venues over and over and over. You know, like that's like a strategy, but to kid yourself into thinking that you've done every single thing you can think of is not true, especially as an artist. As people who have the ability to go, nah, I can have a lot of ideas. I'm like, well, then we got to be creative. You know, like there are not 4 paths or 3 paths. There's unlimited paths and limited directions you can go. And like, I think it's it's really, I would spend a lot of time with you to figure out what have you already done, what do you want to do, you know, like what does the ideal show look like to you? What are your priorities? Is it finances first? Is it whatever? Like every artist is different, you know, and I think sometimes artists forget that they have other skills outside of music that they could be utilizing to their advantage. I have a lot of people that listen to my music now because they support free lunch. They didn't even know I was a musician. And then they read an article about free lunch and they're like, holy shit. And then they look, you know, it's like, I try to live a very, very full life. Try to meet as many people as possible. I don't want anybody excluded. I'll answer any question. I'll spend time with anybody. I'll talk to someone at HEB for an hour. That type of navigating and I'm not saying everyone should do that. I have my own, you know, we're all different, but like that organically trickles into whatever they choose. I like jazz, I trust her. I like jazz, so I dug a little deeper. Turns out she runs free lunch. I'm into it. I dug a little deeper, I read an article. I guess she used to be a touring musician. I'm gonna look it up myself. That I didn't ask them to do any of that. You know, like they chose that on their own because of who I was to them. And so I think sometimes artists get stuck being like, I'm just over here doing my own thing, being like super fucking pissed off that nobody like cares about what I do. And I'm like, people don't know you exist. Right. And that's not being harsh, that's just a fact. People don't know you're there, you know, but you want them to know you're there. And that's why we have to like get creative with the strategies around like, it's probably gonna take more than an Instagram post. It's probably gonna take more than another show at Chess Club. It's probably, you know, like, those are not bad things to do. They don't hurt you. But if that's what everybody else is doing, and if you've already done those things before, then it's not even a new strategy, you know? And so, I mean, I would definitely say don't give up, but I would really go back to the drawing board and, you know, and try to like close all those tabs in your head, you know, and be like, I restarted this computer and I'm gonna think about it a different way. That's the way I have to think in my brain, is like, ugh, just close all those tabs and like, let's start over. And it's a good challenge too, as a creative, to be like, I'm sure I could have some other ideas. I'm sure there's things I'm not thinking of. But I definitely wouldn't give up, because the endurance is the thing that does push most people. What eventually gets you there, you know, is that you didn't give up. And eventually the stars aligned enough, or the right person heard something, or whatever. That does eventually happen. You know, I just think it's not like you'll see the right person and then now you're on stadium tours. I'm like, that's not really how that happens anymore. And for the people that does happen for, if you'll notice, people that have viral moments that go from nobody's heard of them to stadium tours, usually within 18 months, we never hear about that person ever again. It's over. And they probably didn't make very much money, honestly. Yeah. Okay, I feel like...
No, that's so true.
I guess I don't know if this is going to be the last one, but this was piggybacking off of that one. I guess it's in the same family of this one, and actually it's just a yes or no question because I'm a big perceptive person. You said that, you know, everybody in this room, if you told them, if you could just keep going, if you just, you know, keep on giving that effort and just keep going, then you're going to, you know, be that NFL quarterback. And that's not true. But if you were to change that and to say that if everybody in this room were to keep going and not to give up, you would find something worth living for.
Yes.
You know? Because whatever path it is, I mean, you could reach that NFL quarterback. You could have been on that path to go to NFL quarterback, and then you find something that hits you in the face. You're like, this is what I'm supposed to do. But if you could just pursue it with full passion and focus, then you'll reach a purpose of living.
You'll get to a place.
You get to a place,
you will
right?
go to a place, and you will enjoy that place.
And you enjoy that place.
Yeah.
It's worth living. God bless.
Well, let's give a round of applause for Jazz and Justin.
Thanks.
What an inspiring night. I was so excited for these guests. I'm going to let you guys choose. So the open town hall is basically where we pass the mic around and everyone can like say, oh, I have a show, or this is what I do. Or would you guys prefer to just go right into networking? Because we only have until 8:45, so about like 10, 15 more minutes.
Well, I got a microphone, so.
Okay. All right. So
Hey.
Open town hall. Okay. So we're gonna pass the mic around, and then people can talk about who they are and what they do, and say whatever they want. But thank you again to Jazz Mills and Justin
Thank you, Jazz.
so much, so much.
Yeah, should I go? Okay. Hi, y'all. I'm Dave. I'm with a band called So Many Colts. I am the lead singer and guitar player and songwriter. Next to me is my keyboardist and the guy that runs the place that we make music out of. And we're mixing an EP. We're in pre-production for a music video, and we've got our release show at 13th Floor on October 3rd at 13th Floor with Tortures and the Heavy Velvet. So if you guys are around early October, that's what we're shooting for.
Amazing.
So Many Colts.
So many colts.
Yeah, not too many. We don't think there should be a limit. We just recognize there's a lot of them.
That's awesome.
Hi guys, I'm Amiri Tafari. What am I?
Oh no, sorry.
Oh, okay, sorry. Did I do something? Did I do something back?
Go for it.
Okay, I'm back. All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Amiri Tafari. I'm a rapper. I'm a model. I'm an entrepreneur. And I'm also one of the directors for this amazing festival. We got our founder right here, Anna Madewell. And actually, Prosper XO is one of our amazing partners, too. So let me tell you about the festival. It's the Austin Music Video Film Festival. And it's coming up. It's coming up real soon. It's coming up July 18th. I would love to have every single one of y'all there. Of course, you could buy tickets or you could volunteer. And if you volunteer, you just work a couple hours and you can get 2 free tickets. So it's an amazing screens to stage, red carpet, meets pool party vibe event. We're going to have live performances, flash mobs, all the coolest shit. So come out and have fun with us.
Where is it
If you want to
again?
volunteer, come chat
Where
with
is
me
it
or
again?
Anna.
What date? Where is
It is July 18th at the Cabana Club. Yeah. Any questions, come holler at me.
Yeah. Okay, we got the mic over here.
Hello. Y'all are probably gonna get tired of hearing my voice, but I don't care. My name is Lance Milliken. I am a freelancer. I write mostly about electronic music. My day job, actually, I am the kitchen coordinator at a charity kitchen. We do a program called God's Family Dinner. We feed about 500 people a week from the unhoused community in the UT campus. And anything that we don't feed to people on the Thursdays we work, we donate to the free food fridges around town. And I would like to have a very important conversation with you. But recently I have been trying to pitch the idea because for me, music is as nourishing as food is for me. And so I am trying to get a local musician series where we get musicians to teach us how to cook their favorite meals and how to cook it in bulk for friends and family. Because I think one of the biggest things about food insecurity is not necessarily having the access to food, but having the ability to prepare it in the way to make it stretch. So I am thinking about starting a series where we interview artists, we talk about how this particular dish nourishes them, you know, some background on them as an artist, and then they get the chance to, you know, serve that meal to the people it's directly helping feed. So if you want to do something cool like that, hit me up.
You're in the right room.
I saw Kay. She's about to go.
Hello. Yes. Hi, I'm Keiko Tay, Amplify EDM. I'm the founder and CEO. And we are having a studio tour on the 14th. So if you were an artist looking to record, looking at being in a beautiful professional studio, definitely you're welcome to come. Just go to amplifyedm.com. You'll see the article right at the top, and you request to join. That request will go to my inbox, and I'll be the one responding, and I'll send you the information.
Some really nice studios too.
It's a gorgeous
really
studio.
Beautiful recording.
It's called Assembly Line Studio, and he has mixed for Madonna, Green Day. He went double platinum on the Twilight series, their album, and a bunch more. So if you're interested and want to just connect with someone cool who has a lot of knowledge and check out an awesome studio you could record in, definitely hit me up on amplifyedm.com.
Hey, I just want to let you know that, again, my name's Donovan. I have a record label called PH7 Records. We're local, 3 years. We have 40-plus artists, producers in the EDM span of progressive tech and deep house. And I just wanted to let you know that we got our catalog up to 70 records. We're going to be continuing it in August,
Go Donovan.
September, October, and that'll be closing out 2026. But yeah, keep a lookout for us. PH7 Records Media. It's a record label and a podcast where I interview producers on finding balance in EDM, and I've done it 112 times. I'm going to keep that ball rolling.
Amazing. We have time for one more, and then let's do some networking. And yeah, one more.
Well,
If you
Hey
park,
everybody.
but
Hi.
if you parked in the garage, you can get
yeah,
out.
we do have this validation. Anybody? who
Sorry,
parked in the
Anna.
garage? But go ahead, Anna.
Oh yes. Hello, I'm Anna Madewell, and I'm a soul singer. I love to sing, and I'm also the founder of the ATX Music Video Film Festival in Powhurt. And I created some new music that I'm going to be performing on July 18th, and I would love if y'all can come see it. That's it.
So proud of
Yeah,
you.
gonna be a couple
Yay.
flash mobs, and yeah, I've always created a lot of EDM, but this time it's very soulful. So kind of like Amy Winehouse, Anderson .Paak. I'm gonna play a little drums. Never done that before, so yeah, I would love if y'all can make it.
Amazing.
Yep, 8:30 p.m.
Cabana
next Saturday.
Club.
Cabana Club.
Cabana Club, July
CCC.
18th. Okay, you guys, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much. We have these every month, the second Wednesday of every month. We have 2 guest speakers, so just so honored to have you all. Network, talk to our guests. We're going to play some of jazz music. We do have to be out of here by 9, but stick around until then. And thank you so much.
Run for the country, the Ozark Mountains, way up in Arkansas. We'll find us that old log cabin where nothing happens except the rain that falls. It wouldn't let us down. Comfort is so hard to come by and harder to notice with all these crooks and thieves. Let's return sad dreams we borrow. By this time tomorrow, we could be out of here. I wouldn't let us down. Jesse, I'm a dreamer. You know this much is true. There must be a place safe enough for you and me to
Lately, she makes me nervous. For all it's worth, it ain't worth much at all. The seasons may stay changing, waxing and waning, and even the sun must fall. But she never lets me down. She rises with morning glory, and tidings in store of a journey here. And like her, my heart's been busted with those I've trusted. Time and time again, so please don't let me down. Jazzy, I'm a dreamer, and know this much is true. must be some place safe enough for you and me to breathe easy. Toss them into years. Sorrows like a stream. They'll slip between our hands. Set them all to sail. Down out in the land. Stepping on these stones, there ain't far yet to go to keep from falling. Strengthen all my bones, I pick you up and hold you for my own. Oh, thought I would phone you when I'm home, just to let you know that everything's alright. If you gotta go, then be sure to let me know so you can find me. If I could see the road that bends before you slow to help you travel. No matter where you go, it's always nice to know you're not alone. So that's your voice on the radio as I sit up in my bed tonight. You know that I love you, and I know you love me too, but please remind me. So that's always on the radio as I sit up in my bed tonight. You know that I love you, and I know you love me too, but please remind me. Lonely, you're Mr. Lonely. You have nobody for your own. You are so lonely, yeah, to call on the phone. Now you're a shadow, a lonely shadow, away from home, through no wish of your own. That's why you're lonely. You're Mr. Lonely. You wish that you could come back home. Letter, never a letter. You get no letter in the mail. I've forgotten. Yeah, I've forgotten. Oh, how you wonder. How is it you fail? Now you're a shadow, a lonely shadow, away from home, through no wish of your own. That's why you're lonely. You're Mr. Lonely. You wish that you could come back My love has no beginning, my love has no end. No front, no back, and my love won't bend. I'm in the middle, lost in a spin, loving you. And you don't know, you don't know, you don't know, you don't know how glad I am. My love has no bottom, my love has no top. My love won't rise and my love won't drop. I'm in the middle and I can't stop loving you. And you don't know, you don't know, you don't know, you don't know how glad I am. I wish I were a poet, so I could express what I like to say. Yeah, I wish I were an artist, so I could paint a picture of how I feel, today. Yeah. My love has no walls on either side. That makes my love wider than wide. I'm in the middle, and I can't hide loving you. And you don't know, you don't know, you don't know, you don't know how glad I am. And you don't know, you don't know, you don't know, you don't know how glad I am. How glad I am. How glad I am. I always knew you'd leave before our time was done. And and sail far away on your boat you built for one. Farewell, sailor boy, I will no longer assume that you take me with you on your boat that has no room. Don't be too sure you'll find something better, something more than the girl you left behind, crying on the shore. The storm is now upon you, and your oars begin to bend. Your pride has bursted through. You're at the mercy of the wind. You wish that she was here. The sea, it cares for none, but there wasn't any room. You're on a boat you built for one. But I always knew I was a sailor girl and would someday rescue you from the storm you are alone in. On my boat I built for two. Mm-hmm.